That's what she really thinks.
ML Elric
stars in the grippingly realistic drama of a team's ambition.
I've given my whole life to that team, and this is how he repays me?
athlete's
ordeal.
What if I'm not perfect? If I screwed up, would that be so bad?
And a fan's fight to win him back.
We're responsible for it.
Jonathan Jackson,
ML Elric and Johnny Spirit.
trapped in a purple haze.
You ass interrogator, question around my face. It's gone.
What are you doing?
That is not paid for by them. That is paid for by the people of Detroit.
You might be qualified, ML.
I'm not qualified for this job.
Let me tell you something. You want to go right now? Okay? You want to go right now, Al?
Hey, kids, if you're one of my friends or casual acquaintances or somebody who I don't even remember who haven't texted me in the last couple of days, how you doing? Have you been watching TV lately? Have you seen anything interesting on the old box? Other than Michael Penix Jr. Skyrocketing to the top of the Heisman Trophy?
Mark, it's not enough that his name is on the show. It's not enough that we wear ML on our hoodies, on our T-shirts. It's not enough that he asked to have a colleague of ours at the Free Press come into the studio today. And I'm thinking to myself, how in the fuck is he going to make this all about him? And there you go. We did. You show up on TV, and here you are.
And there goes our NC-17. For the kids out there listening, I just want you to know that Sean's language is cleaned up a little bit for the Detroit Free Press. But no matter how much they clean it up, it's never quite as good as that of his colleague on the Culinary Arts podcast, Carlos and Shawn. And that would be Carlos Monarrez, who joins us in studio today to talk about another Lions loss.
What?
Oh, wait.
One?
No, the Lions didn't lose. Wow, we got you in on the wrong week, Carlos.
It'll happen soon enough. But what I really want to know is, what is my take here? Because apparently you guys are swimming in so many donations and money that you had enough money to pay for, the licensing rights for The Queen is Dead last week? How much freaking money do you guys have on the show that I'm not getting? Let's start it there.
I'll let you answer that legal question.
That might have been a little fair use because we were referring to
We did review it.
world events.
And we did review it.
It was very relevant.
By the way, Mark, just expect a lot of I's from these two today.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And we did.
Used to it.
And expect a lot of Z's from Sean, his favorite letter in the alphabet.
Well, when I'm next to you, absolutely. Did you bring a pillow?
No, I didn't.
Or do I
even
need to call up Trump?
I didn't even bring a My Pillow.
His buddy can get me one.
So I did meet Mike Lindell in
course
Grand
you did.
Rapids for a
Of
Republican
course you did.
state
He did
convention.
not text you, I guess, Saturday night?
He did not. I think he's got some other legal matters he's more concerned about, just like his pal. But the funny thing about seeing Mike Lindell and Rudy Giuliani at the same Republican event was, and then Perry Johnson was there, the quality guru who couldn't quite get his petitions right. It made me wonder whether ambitious and wealthy Republicans, whether there's a requirement that they have the worst hair job, the worst hair dye job in the world. I mean, if I had that much money, I'd at least get the Just for Men thing as opposed to going straight to the shoe polish.
Is that the difference between Republicans and Democrats at this point? One party dyes their hair and the other doesn't?
I'm sure they both do.
I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Like Bill Clinton?
Yeah.
Like Obama?
Maybe.
Like Biden?
I do think, though, that those guys would probably deny that their hair was dyed and that their hair color was stolen.
Wait, are you rolling your eyes already, Mark?
I am at that joke, yeah.
Yeah, it's not really a joke.
I liked your better joke.
It's not really a joke.
We have a very special guest joining us shortly on the broadcast.
Carlos?
Kim Jones, who is the producer for ESPN and ABC Sports, who was working the game where if you didn't see it the other day, maybe you turned it off because Michigan State looked like burning dog crap. I got circled and singled out for, I like to think, special attention because there was nothing better to look at on the field, so they were trying to somehow boost their ratings. But other people have suggested that I'm the new Surrender Cobra guy. So we're going to have the producer on shortly to talk about...
Should we play it now? And we did clear all the rights and usage for this, too, under fair use again. For those that don't know, there might be some people that don't know.
I just pulled the signed contract off our fax machine.
Or for some of us that just think it's hilarious. But here's how it went on a Saturday night. That's not how it went. Here's how it went on Saturday night.
And brought out to the 40-yard line by Dominique Hampton. 47-yard punt. Media, timeout. He's not happy.
He's not feeling it right
He's in a purple haze right now. Washington with the lead.
Oh, that's just a shame.
Wait,
Yeah.
there's no way that was a coincidence. How did you set that up? Who did
I was
you pay?
actually looking down because I just was wondering whether I
Get
was
it out.
standing in a puddle of my own tears. Now, people who sent me this thing, it was circled like somebody had used a telestrator. Did that actually happen on the broadcast? Or
Yes.
were people doing that on their own?
No, it happened on the broadcast.
So they brought that image back later?
No, we just showed it. That you were circled. Here, I'll make it.
I didn't see the circle part. Oh,
There it is, paused.
You want to be highlighted even more.
oh shit.
And I love this guy who's just laughing at you, the Washington fan.
Well, I will tell you about that guy. He was a very nice guy, and from the beginning of the game, he's like, "I really like Spartans. They're my second favorite team. We hope you guys have a good time. We're really," because I think he thought that we were going to roll him, and he was in a sea of green, and he was going to get stomped. So he was being obsequious from the jump.
They were favored.
Obsequious.
Yeah, but 3.5 points. I mean,
Sean Windsor
come on,
word.
Or maybe
that's-
he knew football. No, my thesaurus, I can't even say that word, is not anywhere what his is.
No, last week he said solemnity, and you
his-
loved it.
Yeah, his is de minimis. But anyway,
Wait a minute.
I don't know what any of these
did
words mean.
Did a little part of you die last week having to watch that game on TV because you didn't get to travel and get your points, Marriott points, and watching your good friend BFF Mike Elric here at that game? When you watch it, did you puke? Actually,
No, I enjoyed it because he posted, or maybe Teresa posted photos of the fish market. Fulton, is it Fulton Fish Market? No, that's Atlanta.
Pike Street.
Pike Street.
Please.
Pike
So,
Place
yeah.
Market.
So I enjoyed the little travelogue on social media. I enjoyed
But
that.
when
I
you
was
watched
happy
him,
for
when
him.
you saw him on television, did it not kill you?
No, it didn't kill me at all. I thought it was fun. Sam, my son, called immediately. He's like, "Are you watching this game? What's going on?"
My phone blew up.
Yeah, no, it was pretty funny.
Mostly people laughing.
But then the best part is that an hour later, Teresa posts, "We get it. Mike was on TV. You don't have to keep texting." I'm like, "Oh my God, people are actually excited for you." God forbid.
So that's one of the things that I
it was
wanted.
a lot nice when I was paid to be on TV. I'll just say that.
I wanted to ask you about that because I didn't text you. I didn't want to talk to you because
So
I know,
you're the guy
I
who
know
didn't
that
text me. Good.
I know that
who
mode
that
you can
was.
be in when stuff like that happens, and plus I knew everybody else probably had already texted you by the time I would have gotten to you. How soon after that happened?
So the signal in Husky Stadium, which you wouldn't expect from the most high-tech city in America, was dog crap. I normally tweet throughout the game like
gonna
selfies
answer the question?
that convey all that.
Eventually.
But I don't know because I don't know when it was on the air, but at some point there may have been some sort of break in the clouds or something because all of a sudden it's like bing, bing, what was going on? And I knew it wasn't some sort of priapism because Michigan State was doing great. It had to be
Priapism.
something going with the phone.
What was your first thought, though, when you feel your phone getting really hot and buzzing and like something really bad has happened or something really good has happened?
I thought I'm having a Sean Windsor stroke.
Or was
This is where all that gravy kills me. I thought this is it for me. No, I'll tell you, truly, my biggest feeling was, thank God I did not have my hands on my head. I felt stupid with my tongue out, but I thought, I do not want to be the new Surrender Cobra guy, who I'm told is a real sport about it. Like goes to Spartan games and people greet him and give him a beer at tailgates.
What are you
He's
gonna
really
do?
cool. No, absolutely, and that's
What makes
that's
college football fun?
yeah, that's why we want to get that guy on the show, and hopefully we'll have him on before the Michigan State bloodbath, and I think the blood might be green if we don't change things up real fast. But no, I mean when you see that, my first thought was, okay, I don't look that stupid. My second thought was, oh, it's better than my driver's license.
kind of
picture.
handsome.
Yeah. and then somebody who I used to work with said, you kind of look like Liev Schreiber. And I thought, that's great.
No, you don't.
'Cause I normally get you look like Larry Bird, so I was really happy not to get the Larry Bird stuff. And I used to get Sean Penn too, but I don't know why.
I used to get Matthew Modine, so
Really?
there you go.
No,
Because you're a bleeder?
No.
When I was young, because I was a wrestler. No, I wasn't.
You wrestle with your emotions.
Well, yours
And emotions got a pin.
with you.
How pissed were you at that moment?
At that moment?
You weren't pissed.
No, you look like you just
I
forsaken
mean,
everything. Forget it. It's over.
I was having flashbacks. I'm like, and if you're watching us on YouTube, we encourage you to subscribe to YouTube channel ML Elric. That way you get notifications when we go live, which is always kind of a dicey question. But you can see the picture because Mark is driving it into my skull. But all I was thinking was, I saw this in West Lafayette. I saw this in Columbus last year. And I remember I saw both of those ass kickings not too long after getting my ass kicked in a city council election. I thought, is 2023 going to be better than 2022? Because 2021 kind of sucked. And when we were talking to my friends who you can't see in this shot because they were in a fetal position, the whole thing we were talking about was, we have an offense. We can, if Thorne is on point, we can match them touchdown for touchdown, but we're now down by 2 touchdowns and a safety. Who goes down by a safety? I mean,
Commanders.
That's crazy. Well, Iowa had 2 safeties when they beat some team 7-3. Yeah, I mean, what was this, 1901? I mean, who the hell's coaching this game? Amos Alonzo Stagg? I mean, it was crazy. Or his friends call him Amos. But yeah, I was very glad that I was not in a more compromising position, because you really don't want to be the symbol of your team's disappointment. And I was really happy that nobody else had a good signal, so that when we're leaving, people were like, hey, it's the guy, Spartans losing guy.
When it happened, or when you realized it happened, did you immediately think, this is the podcast?
No, when it happened, I immediately thought we need to run back to kickoff.
I figured you did. Yeah.
No, all I was thinking was, we need to get a lot of points fast. The other thing I was thinking...
Because I thought, oh no, this is not a great week for Carlos, because he's not going to get the talk now. When I saw that, yeah.
Well, he's already contributed more than his...
That's true.
His other...
Yeah, but it's not really about me, is it?
But
it's about Carlos.
But the one thing that I did think, and this is real-time thought, was... every time people make fun of me for having nosebleed seats at these games, this is why you don't want to sit along the sidelines, because when your team takes a crap, all of a sudden you could be posterized.
So you had good seats, huh?
5th row.
Really?
Wow, did you pay for them yourself?
Always do.
And the airline tickets?
Always do.
And the hotels?
I know, sports writer.
And the food? Wow.
Well, I didn't eat. I did not have much of an appetite.
Well, if you're a real sports writer like Sean Windsor, you get there 8 days early, and you roam the streets looking for this cuisine and whatever it is, and seeing old girlfriends in town, and that's how you do it on the company's dime, of course.
And filling the giveaway duffel bag with hot dogs for the flight home.
Right.
Well, I'd be ashamed if these go to waste. It's really just it's like a bologna sandwich.
I still can't believe that's the voice you come up with. How long have we been doing this podcast, Mark?
Oh, a long time.
And by the way, Mark needs to read.
What? No, I don't. I was waiting for a spot to fill.
Yeah, we have to thank the people who made it possible for me to buy those plane tickets and those football tickets.
Well, you're paying yourself that kind of money, eh?
I've saved a lot of money. Let's put it that way. Hall Financials made it possible for me to take extravagant trips like this, because the incredible deal that I got.
Yeah, if you want to take a fantastic trip like ML, why not do a cash out refinancing? Take money out of your house. You can travel the world.
Sit in the back row, though.
Your house value has skyrocketed last year. The average is about, I think, $50,000. They had a client refinancing at $55,000 out. You can use the cash pay off any of your credit card debt that you might have, those student loans that the government didn't finish paying off. You want to remodel your house, take all that money out, unlock thousands of dollars today with a cash out refinance from Hall Financial at 866-CALL-HALL or chat online at callhallfirst.com.
Thank you.
David Hall's dad was my wife's OB-GYN when she was pregnant.
I've heard that from many people. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that dad was the OB-GYN. There's a couple people. He's delivered a lot of babies into this world.
Oh, yeah.
So is Luke Nowacki. I don't know if he has.
That means you're practically related.
Where's my cash? Where's my Hall financial incentive? And he's a fantastic golfer, by the way.
Yeah, scratch both ways, left and right hand.
Right hand, yeah.
How good
How about that, Sean?
That's impressive.
Sean was the best athlete that you've never seen actually do anything, because there's always some malady, a knee, a back, or whatever, a bruised ego.
I really don't talk about it much, though.
I've played against Sean. He's kind of ghost in the post.
Oh.
Now, usually it's because he's going up for a defensive rebound. The other team's coming back, and he's like, I got this.
Is he I'm not going to say it.
Well, you can go ahead and say it, whatever it is. It's all right.
I was going to say, are you the Imani Bates of the Free Press?
Oh.
That's a touchy subject
no,
right now.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed you haven't written about it.
That was a disarming comment. Too bad somebody didn't disarm Imani.
Well, when you got 4 white guys in a room.
It wasn't his car. It wasn't his car.
It wasn't his car.
And he didn't know whose gun that was.
Oh.
Yeah. Is that
what kind of friend loans you a car and doesn't tell you there's a gun in it?
Wade Emanuel's wife.
Okay.
Maybe Ward Emanuel.
What a dick. Always has to come back to that. That's the story, though? Was it his car?
It was a borrowed
That's
car.
that's what the lawyer says.
Really?
Isn't that just a classic defense, though, anytime that you're driving a car?
Well, I mean,
and
that's
you have a
easy to
gun?
prove whether or not it's your car or not.
Right.
Yeah.
But as far as the gun, especially when the serial number's messed with, that's a little harder.
Well, I imagine they can dust the gun to see if he's got fingerprints on it, and that might help them figure out.
And where do they find it in the car, too? Right?
Right.
Was it under the seat? Was it in the console? Or was it in the trunk?
Right on top of his NIL with Zingerman's.
Can we get back to my post moves here for a second?
Actually, can we talk about Luke Nowacki, because we're talking about money. This
Luke
is
can
a guy
post you up.
who can make money.
There you go.
Luke looks like if he boxed you out, this guy's got shoulders.
You're not
like,
getting around him.
like Samson.
You're not getting around it.
That's right. That's Luke Nowacki at Pinnacle Wealth Management. Give him a call, 248-663-4748. You can click a link on our site. Luke's going to get you on the right path to making money. Do you want it in equities? Do you want bonds? What do you do with your money? How old are you? That actually matters too. But Luke will give you a complimentary consultation, 248-663-4748. Or, of course, the link is on our site,
which is at mlsolvedetroit.com. When you click on our site, you can click on their links. And when you do contact Luke, don't forget, he'll make it all about you, sweetie.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Royal Alliance Associates Inc. Member FINRA SIPC. Royal Alliance Associates Inc. is separately owned, and other entities and or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Royal Alliance Associates Inc.
So Carlos is here.
Yes. And I'm not in a hoodie, by the way.
No.
I almost came in a suit just to shove it up someone's, you know what.
In a suit. Wow.
Why would I care about that?
Because you guys were talking about the hoodie and how nobody dresses up, and especially Shawn, and although it's a nice hoodie today.
I did get some shit from was it a listener? Or,
oh, yeah.
About
imagine that.
My ridiculous clothes. Yeah.
And we got a donation, actually. They said, can you please share this with the homeless shelter where Shawn stays? And I said, that's not true. Shawn lives on a horse ranch in Ann Arbor with an outbuilding. I think last time I was there, I saw even the bird bath has like a hot tub feature on it. That's pretty nice.
I don't know about
sous
that.
vide. Yeah, he's going to cook me something this week.
I am. He's coming over. We're going to watch the game. They're out of town. The Lions are out of town at Minnesota.
Okay.
One of our other colleagues has the team, and so Carlos is going to come over. He's requested dinosaur chicken nuggets and mac and cheese. I think
that's Dave Burkett.
Oh, is that Dave Burkett? Okay.
No, I'm asking the world famous Ann Windsor fried chicken. Is she making it or are you making it?
Probably both of us.
How do you both make fried chicken?
Well, it's called.
That's too many cooks in the kitchen, bro. Come on.
No. It's
what a nice relationship you have.
Well, these two don't know much about working together. You want to, except when you get in a voting booth. But you want to, Mark?
What does that mean?
You know what I mean?
What kind of swipe was that?
You like to think about other people and work with other people and compromise and so on and so forth.
Well, I was only kidding about the sports guys being into food, but
jeez.
Talk about a self-fulfilling
Do we talk
prophecy.
more about food on Freep Sports with Carlos and Shawn than you guys talk about music on ML?
No, that's what your listener told me.
The food? That we talk too much about?
Sorry, plural listeners. Plural.
We just have
The
one.
joke
We just
was-
have the one.
I love how you just. It doesn't work when we say that on our own podcast. You know, when people are self-deprecating, that's when you kind of make fun of yourself, Mike. You probably have never done that, but
is that? Did you look that up in your thesaurus? Your Stegalopoulos, which has the different words about dinosaurs?
would you rather actually understand language or be able to pronounce it? That's a good question.
I just want to speak to the people.
By the way, did we get any more Belvin donations?
No, I think at this point we're going to have to produce a body if we're going to get a conviction on that.
Okay.
We did get a donation though from somebody who was glad that I called crooked local politicians shitbags. That was worth a generous donation.
That you called out, that you exposed?
I don't know whether I exposed them or not. There's many that other people have exposed, but I got a few notches on my belt.
By the way, Carlos is here.
I know. He just put in his order for the football game. I did have what's purported to be the best mac and cheese in the world in Seattle, and found it to be a little disappointing.
You don't go all the way out there to go to Panera. Next time, try a local place.
Starbucks.
That's Shawn, who's always telling us, I'm not a food snob.
I'm not. I get Panera.
He's such a food snob.
Oh, so now he likes Panera. Okay.
Oh, he tries to pretend he's a man of the people.
I
no.
had a Jersey Mike's last week. There you go.
Look at that. Listen, look at our proletarian over there.
Exactly.
Eating with the hoi polloi.
Come on, Mark.
Way to go. Way to go.
I don't like how quiet you're being over there.
No, I'm letting all the
You've had
girls
all
talk.
these questions for Carlos for 2-3 years. Every time I come in, what the fuck did Carlos write?
No,
This is what
there's
I hear all the time.
There's a flow, and I'm sure I'm not the only person, Carlos, that says that to you. Like
Shawn says it too.
like, what are you
I tried to
writing about?
I tried to prevent him the other day. I said, "Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it." We're sitting next to each other in the press box at the Lions game, and because he had an exchange right with Dan Campbell, and Dan Campbell used his name. He said, "Carlos." I don't even remember what the answer was. So he wants to use. I could tell he's like I can't. And he's all torn up. He wants to put himself in there so bad. And I said, "Don't do it. Make it about Campbell." Anyway.
And what happened?
Oh, that's interesting. So what'd you do? Make it about
He
Campbell?
used it. Tell us about the response.
Oh, I definitely put it in there. Yeah. I'm
Read the
quoting
response.
people
It's
verbatim.
awesome. You probably don't
It
have
was
it handy.
something. It was Campbell's response.
No, the one that you shared with me
Email.
from the
Oh
email.
yeah. Someone emailed me saying something like, "Look, hey mommy, hey daddy, Coach Campbell used my name, or whatever it was, like hooray!" And so,
Do you like wearing the black hat?
not really. I don't think of it that way. That's the problem. Is I don't think of it as I'm going to be the bad guy or I'm going to be the good. See, one thing what people don't understand about me, in a large way, is I came from L.A. And in L.A. there's really no allegiance. I mean, if you know more about L.A., the sports culture there was a guy named Chick Hearn, who I'm sure Shawn is familiar with, the play-by-play guy for the Lakers for a long time, legendary guy.
Even older than Vin Scully.
No. Well, I mean, he's dead now, but I don't. He might have been
like
around.
Johnny
the same age.
Most of L.A.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He was there a long time and an institution, right? Paid by the team, all the stuff. He was even in personnel for a while in the 60s or 70s. He was hard on the team. He was like shitting on them all the time whenever they were screwing up. And that's what LA is there's no baked in allegiance like Detroit or a Midwest, where people grow up, you live here, you die here, whatever, But in LA, it's so transitory that even if you grow up there, you don't ever feel that sense of, this is my town. I've got to really, boost this team. Dodger fans are that way. I was a Kings fan. Growing up as an LA Kings fan, that's as kind of fanatical as you can be because they sucked forever. I still stuck with them, and then even when they got good with Gretzky, then it was a little bit different. But the same thing, the fans will turn on any team in LA in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So reading guys, growing up, reading the LA media, and there's a ton of papers, especially back then. The Jim Murray types, Mike Downey was there.
Downey was great.
Nobody was ever like, hey.
He was there after Detroit, though, right?
After
So
Detroit.
for people who don't remember, before Mitch Albom, there was Mike Downey.
Yes.
Paragraph. Before Mitch Albom, there was Mike Downey. Paragraph. Before Mitch Albom, there was Mike.
You're just jealous, aren't you?
No. I just, my stuff is already pretty long without having to repeat, things. But hey, I got to interrupt because we are joined by Kim Belton, who is dialing in from, I don't know if he's in the super secret bunker there in Bristol, California, but he is the game producer for ABC and ESPN College Football, leading the crew of Mark Jones, RG3, and Quint Kesinich, and who incidentally, we're looking at the crowd of 79,000 people, and they said, there's one really good-looking dude who looked like he crapped his pants. Let's put him on TV. Unfortunately, that's me, but Kim, what do you got against me, man? We never even met before. What's going on?
This was my only way to finally get to meet you. No. It's a pleasure. First of all, pleasure to be on your show. And it was what we try to do is have some fun. To be honest with you, we try to make sure that we're watching the game like people are sitting there in their living rooms watching the game. Oh, look at this guy. Doesn't he look like an idiot? All that kind of stuff.
Guilty as charged.
He gets that all the time.
Well, it's funny because I used to be a reporter here in Detroit on Fox 2 and for a little while at our NBC affiliate. And I was getting text, my phone blew up right away. And I thought it was hilarious. So I was like, well, at least I wasn't picking my nose. But I heard people saying like, okay, is this like some sort of industry insider thing? Did they know you used to be on TV? And so they and we're I'm like, Yeah, I don't really think Kim Belton is watching local Detroit news from 5 years ago because he's probably got better stuff to do.
Some days, depends on the day. No, you look despondent. You look like you had lost your best friend. You had that, furrowed brow. So we said, why not take this guy? And our directors, he's uncanny, and our camera folks are really good at it because, again, we don't want to do it in a mocking way and kind of make people look bad. It's not malicious at all. But if we see something that pops, we go for it. And you look like you popped at that moment.
Well, I'm wondering, and there were a lot of Spartans who were popping. I wonder, do you guys sort of scan the crowd and say, okay, this isn't going the right way? That one dude looked like he's pretty miserable. Let's see if we can find him later on because we're pretty sure he's going to do something that's going to, capture the moment. Because when you say despondent, that's probably putting it mildly because I don't know if you were in West Lafayette or Columbus last year, but I saw that defense on the field before, and I knew that it wasn't going to get much better.
Yeah, it didn't. You know what it is? It's trying to get ahead of the moment and setting you up like we did led us to other people who some were happy, some were sad, So it was... we try to find something that's funny, sometimes it's sad, sometimes it's ridiculous. We were in, where was it? Not Salt Lake City. We were in Provo, and we had a BYU game. And they pride themselves on these things called cougar tails. And it's a long, long donut, for lack of a better word. And people... It was a group of about, I'd say, 15, 20 people together. And they literally, one person passed it to the next person, to the next person, to the next person. And they were all taking bites, right? So they don't sell beer there, so they had to buy tiger tails. It was really weird to see all these people taking a bite out of the same thing. It was crazy.
I was really hoping you were going to go back to ML because, we know him, so we know how emotional he can be and more than anything, expressive with his face. So I was thinking, Spartans are making a little run. Let's go back to that very sad fan. Is there ever any thought of going back to him, kind of telling a story through a fan's perspective that's in the stadium?
Yeah, we thought, but we felt really bad because we knew that people in Detroit, when they saw the tears coming down, they'd be really upset.
Yeah, their female viewership dropped precipitously. They found out once I went on. They got the people meter, so they know who's watching everywhere. They're like, okay, that ugly dude ain't going to help us. People in Michigan are already bailing on this broadcast. We put this jamoke on there again. That's going to bottom out. And it did. It did. But now I got to ask you about the Purple Haze thing because obviously, purple is the big thing at the Husky Stadium, Purple Rain. Purple Haze, hometown of Jimi Hendrix. Is that something where the crew is like, okay, we want to use this line at some point? That's a keeper. Do you guys workshop this stuff or was it spontaneous and I just happen to be the lucky beneficiary of the Purple Haze line?
Yeah, you were just the beneficiary. We don't sit there and say, okay, let's use this line. We try to make sure we have a sense of place where we are. Okay, home of Hendrix, Purple Haze, Purple Rain, all that. So it was either going to be Hendrix or it was going to be Prince. So you look like a Hendrix guy, so we went that way.
Kim, I do.
Actually, I like Prince better, but you can't go wrong with that crowd, right?
No.
It's like you go with the head cheerleader or the prom queen to the dance. You can't go wrong. For the record, I didn't go with either in my high school. I went with my mom.
I do have to say, and this isn't a criticism of RG3, because I actually like him, and he's green. He's learning his way in that role, which is a really tough job. I do think he had one line planned. Well, I know he had one line planned, the left, when he's a lefty, when he's right. That's fine, whatever. But the big Penix Energy line, is that something that when that happens and that flies out there, you're like, okay, people know what this means, but let's just ignore it? What is your take as the producer of that broadcast?
When he said it, the first thing I went, easy, big fella, easy. But, he had one worse than that, actually.
He did.
His kid's name was Orgy, and he scored a touchdown. And he said, there's an orgy in the end zone.
But see, that's good, though. I think viewers like that. It's not terribly old.
I thought you were going to say the pre-snapulation.
Pre-snap.
well, that was a good one as well. That was good.
I sense a theme here from RG3. What's going on?
Well, you know what? I mean, isn't that what makes it fun, right? It's not terrible.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I think our biggest thing is really we want people to, if we're having fun, guess what? You're going to have fun.
Exactly. And you hear the
So
name
that's
Penix.
that's what we try to do.
You hear orgy and Penix. Come on. I mean, any.
Yeah. Why couldn't I get one of these? Why couldn't I get one of these endowment lines instead of that? I'm like baked or something. I mean,
know why?
Jeez.
Exactly.
He's never been baked in his life.
Yeah, I know they're sitting there like, well, that's save that line for later. That guy's Irish.
Hey, you're lucky. We caught a guy with a vape pen, and it wasn't just cherry vape juice, if you will.
Yeah.
It was some other kind of juice. And he was going to break like this. And we could have said something, but we didn't. We left it alone.
Yeah. The picture will tell the story.
I had told the story.
Now, hey, Kim.
Mama, I'm okay, but I'm a little high.
Exactly. It's legal there.
The question I have for Kim is just, when you show an ugly guy like ML on the broadcast, right? Are your camera guys hunting people in the crowd? Like, look, hey, I got a guy here. I got a guy. He looks like he's going to take his life, or this person's looks like they're going to cry. This person's doing something ridiculous. Are you doing this? And then, all right, we're going to go to whatever. John's got this guy. Whenever Spartans get toasted again, we're going to go right to this guy, the ugly guy in the Spartan shirt, whatever. You guys know that ahead of time, right?
Well, it's really pretty spontaneous. Our director is, he's cutting the shots, stand by camera 2, take camera 2, stuff like that. And we do have Photoshop as it relates to ML, but no, I'm just kidding. But no, so he's basically calling the shots, and we have a camera meeting prior to, and when the game shifts, we shift. If the game gets away from us, then we really go wacko and try and find the craziest stuff we can find. If the game is still in the balance, we try to find, as you said before, how can we tell the story through the eyes of a fan? And at that time, his look on his face really told the story about, if you're a State fan, man, we're in trouble here.
Well, one of the things that I'm known for is my Twitter account, if folks want to follow me, it's @Elric, is I go to all the home games.
What a way to start a sentence.
What an opportunist.
And usually, hey, man, it's this broadcast is all about eyeballs. Twitter's all about
One of the things I'm known for. Sorry, Kim.
So I go to at least one road game and all the home games, and I throughout the game will post a selfie with an expression that kind of captures how the Spartans are doing. The signal in Husky Stadium was so bad I couldn't do that, and you guys kind of carried me. You covered me, so I gotta give you a great appreciation for that. So thank you.
That's awesome because normally that. Oh, sorry, Kim. Go ahead.
No, I was going to give you my address later so you can send me something. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say normally that photos goes out all over the world. But I do have a question for you. Have you ever captured somebody who turned out to be a journalist who then invited you on their show?
First time.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if you guys might not be old enough, but back on Monday Night Football back in the day when Howard Cosell used to cover it, does anybody recall ever seeing the shot of the lone fan just look like he was sleeping?
I do.
And he was there, and somehow, I don't know how, but he knew the camera was on him at some point. He looked up and he went like this.
Big old bird.
It was the best. It was the best. So
was that before
he
the
didn't invite
delay?
me on the show, but he told me I was number one. How about that?
That's in my heart too. But the funny thing is, I was grateful that I wasn't doing Surrender Cobra, and I think about that all the time. Is when your team is losing, and the last 10 or 20 years have been pretty good for the Spartans, but we know what it's like to feel that way. I'm always thinking, do not do the Surrender Cobra. So I'm grateful that if you guys did have a spot, so let's go back to row 5 and see what that Joker's doing. That I wasn't going to give you the Surrender Cobra, but I'm sure I did something else that was even more humiliating. So I appreciate you having the grace to leave that out of the show.
We did. We'd rather show the guy who's throwing up on the sideline.
Well, you could have seen me do that later too, because it was. I thought in that fourth quarter we might have pulled it out. But so where are you going to this weekend, Kim?
Oh boy, Firestorm. We're going to Auburn and they're playing Missouri. Now, on the
Plains.
surface, that doesn't sound like much, but in this case, it could be. We could lose a coach by halftime if Missouri is beating Auburn. Unfortunately, Brian Harsin could be gone. So it's one of those death march games.
That's sort of like this podcast, and we keep every week we think we could be gone. But well, Kim, we really appreciate you coming on, and it was a lot of fun. I'm glad I don't pay by the texts anymore, because I'll tell you, there was just enough bandwidth in there for everybody I know to send me a text saying, "Hey, did I just see you on TV?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "Oh shit, yes you did." But thank you very much, and
thank you.
Please tell Mark that. All natural, man. No haze of no sort whatsoever. Not even Woody Haze for me there.
Okay.
But
okay, how about Bob Hayes? No,
there you go. Well, I'll tell you, maybe I'll see you guys in Ann Arbor.
reference.
Are you coming to Ann Arbor?
We were just there. We were there for Colorado State game.
Oh, how exciting!
The Alex Orgy game. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Orgy game. Yes.
Well,
so we'll see. I don't know where I'm going from week to week until Sunday or Monday. So
okay. Well, if you see me in Ann Arbor, based on that defense, please put the camera on somebody else, because
I sure will.
The range of emotions I'm already experiencing are pretty debilitating.
That back end is a little porous, shall we say?
Well, I'll tell you, actually, I thought I was closer to some of those receivers than Kimbrough, and I was on the other side of the field. So we'll see. There's still time. I still believe in Mel, and you can't spell Mel without ML.
That's true. That's true. I like that.
Unbelievable.
Just remember, though, it's open door policy as it relates to that defensive backfield.
Yeah, no, the door was wide open and a horse was out already multiple times. I mean, why don't you guys go with Who Let the Dogs Out? There's a free one. Kim Belton.
Thanks a lot, you guys. I appreciate the time.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. We really do appreciate it, and hopefully we'll run into you sometime. Keep my number handy, because if you're looking for an idiot in the stands, I got that box checked.
All right, and bring your friends. All right.
Oh, believe me, they were weeping. That's why you didn't see them.
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks, Kim. Safe travels. So that's Kim Belton, game producer for ABC and ESPN College Football. He's going to Auburn and Missouri on sounds like Death Watch.
They don't play around in the SEC. Let's get back to why everybody hates Carlos, Mark, and that question.
That question.
I think
everybody hates Carlos.
Like everybody hates Chris. The Chris Rock Show. It's the Carlos Monarrez Show.
Do you think you get more hate mail as a free press columnist than anybody?
By
far, right?
It has to be.
Well, it's hard to know. It's hard to know that because we don't really compare inboxes.
Yeah.
And I limit myself to one email to Shawn a week.
But you chat. You chat with each other.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it before, because you can get an emotion out of me, right? Whether it's a good one or a bad one. I think that's kind of the goal. And one of the first things I told Carlos today, after I congratulated him on his new position, one of the things,
just so you know, it's sports columnist is not something freaky.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I don't know what goes on that other podcast.
But is that another thing you're known for, by the way?
What's that?
Jokes?
I wouldn't say so.
He should start then.
There's very little evidence
Mark,
to support
what are you
that.
known for?
Nothing.
Besides hating Carlos.
Trying to finish his sentence. How
I
about
don't
that?
hate Carlos. Sometimes I object to the work. He's a very nice man. I have no problem with him.
He's a lovely human being.
But the second thing I told you was your column was very un-Carlos today, because but this is good, because I don't want to know. I don't want to have a preconceived notion as to what Carlos Monarrez, is it Monarrez or Monarrez? Monarrez, okay. I don't want to know what you're going to think before you write it. And today's was about how the Lions have you believing, right? Because they beat a team that, not the best team, but they beat a team they were supposed to beat,
right?
Which I think is the thing. So I don't think you purposely go out there to write negative going back to what it is. But are Detroit fans more sensitive, do you think?
Yes. Yeah, the Detroit fans are, one, they're very sensitive. Two, they're among the best fans on the planet, especially when it comes to the Lions.
The best little bitches on the planet. I'm just translating for you.
Yes, because they have that team has given them nothing to root for. Even the Tigers, right? What year rebuild are we in at this point with the Tigers? The Red Wings, St. Iserman is slow walking this thing pretty much too. The new coach is like, hey, we almost made the playoff. We're in the playoff contention last year, but don't expect anything this year. We got to build this thing the right way. Everybody wants to build everything the right, who's our boy?
Harbaugh?
Downtown, our Quicken guy, Dan
Gilbert?
Gilbert.
Dan Gilbert. Yeah, how long? When is that tower going to be finished?
Never.
In the 50s?
When we give him more money.
Yeah.
Right, more tax breaks and all that. So everybody likes to slow play these things. What was my point about this?
I don't know,
You were
but
trying to say-
I saw negative Carlos. That's what we were waiting for.
No, you were trying to say why you don't write.
The fans are very sensitive about things, and I'll give people credit when they deserve it, but I'll give people crap when they don't. And I've always said this about when people think, oh, you're always negative, you always write negative things. I can give you the metric tonnage of positive things I've written over the years. The problem is when you're driving home and there's a car fire on the 94, and then a mile later there's a guy helping a guy change a tire. When you get home, what are you telling your wife? Hey, I saw this really good Samaritan helping this. No, holy crap, there was a car fire. Couldn't believe it. There was 10 people were burning alive. You go with the negative. People side with the negative. They emphasize the negative. So when I write something positive, people don't tend to remember that as much as you hated Matthew Stafford. You called for Jim Caldwell to be fired. Like I did that, but I also have written some positive things. So it's hard to predict when I'm going to wear the black hat or the white hat or whatever it is.
But no, but it is now, but it wasn't always, and that's. I mean, I'd like you to talk about that here for a second.
It wasn't.
You've become a lot more unpredictable.
Well, let me frame this if we can. The Free Press columnist Drew Sharp, the late great Drew Sharp, was considered to be gratuitously negative. That he was the dark cloud over every parade.
His columns were because he was the biggest sweetheart.
Oh,
yeah. As a human being, wonderful guy. Same thing. Rob Parker. People think Rob Parker is this grind 'em up New York guy. Very nice,
Still is, but
and helpful man. But
love you, Rob.
But there was a perception, I think, that Drew had adopted a persona once he became a columnist, and when Drew passed, I think there are people who think that maybe Carlos said, "There's an opening here,
right?
And I'm going to fill this gap, and I'm going to be Dr. Doom."
Yes.
And so, just yes or no. Was this a calculated thing that
I
Carlos
planned this
decided,
from the beginning? I
am going
planned
to be
for Drew's demise. I had it.
I'm going to be the guy you love to hate. I'm going to say goodbye to the bad guy.
Yes, and the inquiry has not cleared me of Drew's death, so maybe I'm partly responsible for that because I planned this. No, and this is the funny thing about Drew was Drew and I. One of the reasons we got along so well, we'd play golf on the road and everything, and have dinner. I mean, he obviously was a great guy. But one of the reasons is because when I would write something similar to him, like an attacking column, he'd come up to me in the press box or the media room and hug me, "Oh, my guy." Like,
thanks for taking some of the heat.
Yeah, well, no, but just for like, hey, we're kind of simpatico here. That's what he thought, and it was like, yeah, I grew up in L.A., but long before I knew Drew, this is how people like Rick Riley wrote, and like I said, Jim Murray and these guys, and there was no end to this kind of.
And before Mitch Albom, there was Mike Downey.
Do you see yourself still
before Mitch Albom?
You've been here since 2000, right?
99.
99. Okay. Do you see yourself still as this LA guy, or are you a Detroit guy now?
I don't see myself as an LA guy, but that's where I was raised. Okay. I mean, it was just such a. I mean, in that town, I went to school there at Cal State Fullerton, and it was such a great place to learn about, to be in the business of journalism and study journalism. Yeah, and this is all independently owned big papers: the LA Times, the Herald Examiner in Los Angeles, the Orange County Register, the LA Daily News, the Long Beach Press Telegram. These are all papers that had easily more than 100,000 readers per day. The Times had almost 1 million at one point. So you had a lot of different voices. And when you have a lot of different voices and frankly, a lot of competition, which is great for the news business, it's great for any business, but especially for the news business, people had to distinguish themselves. You couldn't write these.
I think I asked a yes or no question.
He just gave it to you right there. People, that is the key. What he just said, and of all that word salad, people had to distinguish themselves. That is exactly the point.
What a hypocrite.
You couldn't.
I know exactly.
You couldn't write I see it both ways. Good and bad. It's okay. Everything's fine.
No, but you can go from one.
You guys got that covered. You got that covered.
Yeah. You had so that was the problem. Is people had to have strong voices, and some of them were really like Rick Riley was hilarious when he worked for the LA Times. Scott Ostler when he was there before he went to San Francisco, he was funny. Jim Murray was funny, but he could be cutting. So everybody had kind of different styles, and that's where we learned, like, oh, you can be this, but you can be that. And I remember talking to people when I got a little bit older and had friends at the LA Times and different papers, and who started writing columns and opinion and analysis. I would ask them, like, is it hard to do that when you know you have a bigger audience? And a lot of them don't like it. People don't like to put themselves out there for criticism. It's like, it's tough. And back then it wasn't even email yet. It was a letter to the editor or a phone call to the department or whatever it was. And now with Twitter,
nasty telegram.
It's going to get here in 3 days. Yeah,
you suck. Stop. I mean, you're writing. Stop. Stop your writing.
I don't know that it's the negative. I don't think that's it. I think it's that you for a long time, if folks were going this way, you would go the other way. It didn't matter if it was positive or negative.
I go my own way.
This is one thing I go my own way. Well, you do now, but this is one thing
Sean's going to tell me which way I go.
I figured out about Carlos, right?
Explain Carlos to me.
It wasn't the negative. It was if a group of people over here are going this way, you want to go the other way.
Yeah.
And I think
they had the crystal ball to tell me where people were going.
No, because you were often writing a day or two after. So that's true. I mean, it's the nature of how you were doing it back then. I think the readers had a lot of the readers had issue, and it was the same with Drew. Do you believe what you're writing? I don't think it has anything to do with being negative. There are plenty of people in town that are negative.
And there's plenty to be negative about. You can't write a column that says 348 days out of the year the Lions don't suck. It's the 16 they blow that we care about.
Right. And the Tigers and the teams have been bad for a long time. Exactly. That's exactly right. So that's the question. I mean, Carlos and I have had a lot of we've talked about this on.
Well, there's a word salad there too.
Let me
it's always a food show with these guys.
Camera. No, but do you
coming up next? Sue Solaski.
Right. This is what happens when Mike, doesn't dominate the sandbox. What do you think about that? Because I know you've heard that from people. Do you believe what you're writing? That to me has always been the biggest thing I've heard. When I get asked about you, when I see comments, that's the thing that is the most consistent thing. In the past, I think it's changing, but I'm curious.
I've never believed a word, Sean.
Okay.
Not one thing. Okay. I've come up with so many. No, I can understand that. Because I think some people do sometimes go into a situation.
Another yes or no question. It was a big build up to it, but it was.
I said no. Did I say no? I said yes.
You said you can understand that. You were trying to be.
It because
excuse you for being a human being. Sorry, Mike.
Drew, and some people, and I do think Drew, unfortunately, sometimes went in thinking ahead of time. This is whatever his notion was of I'm against this, I'm for this, and I'm gonna. And you could see the questions he asked sometimes heading in that direction, which doesn't mean that he didn't believe it, but
before it played out, right, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Before it played out, like these guys suck. They're never, and part of Drew's thing was he was a hurt fan. He was a huge Lions fan, especially.
And a big Michigan guy too.
And a big Michigan guy, and the Big Ten was a joke and all that. And I don't come with that baggage.
He had a song. Remember that, Carlos? The Big Ten sucks.
The Big Ten sucks. The Big Ten sucks. Yeah, he would sing in the press box. It was fun. It was cute. But
I think a lot of times people can get mad at your columns because you'll shit on hope, right? That'll be the beginning of a season. Jaden Ivey gets drafted, and your headline is not your headline, but the headline was "Don't expect greatness from him," right? Which it's like, oh man, we just drafted him. People want to believe that, and I get that, but that's okay. Yeah, do I really expect greatness from him? No, but I want to hope. The Lions going into the season, you had some negative ones. People want to believe and want to hope. I think that's where it comes from. Yeah, we know deep down, 7 wins is good for the Lions. It's not good for the NFL, but we're playing on that hope, and I think
context
matters. But also the timing in when you write about the thing that we're all hoping that, hey, another rebuild, it sucks, but here's why it might be good. And I think that's what rubs people the wrong way. This is total 180. Did you ever finish Hard Knocks, and did you end up liking it, or did you still hate it? You did not like the first episode.
I hated the first episode.
Hate's kind of strong, no?
No, not for me. Well, you have an opinion, stick with it. You have a strong opinion.
That doesn't mean you have an opinion. It means you may not know what you're looking at.
Don't I do have an opinion, but it kind of didn't suck. Both are okay.
They're both valid. Here's an opinion. You're a good writer, you're a talented columnist, and you know nothing about sports. How about that for an opinion? I mean, except for golf, sorry.
I thought this was Carlos's turn to talk.
Except for golf.
Didn't we invite him on to talk a little bit?
No, I
want to steal my bits.
So Mark's
Okay.
question, I'm going to
Comma
answer
ain't a
Mark's
period, biatch.
I am a huge Hard Knocks fan. I've watched it every year since the Chiefs were on it, and it did get better. But I think
the show progressively has gotten, now I wouldn't say worse, but it's gotten way more restrictive in what they're going to show you.
Way
naturally,
more.
because it's
after Ocho Cinco, after Joe Philbin cut Ocho Cinco and they showed it, I think there was a lot of reaction in the league from owners, from different people, right? Branding people, whatever. Like, this is a black guy. This is too real. And it totally changed after that.
yeah,
Totally.
it is what they want you to see. But that being said, I like watching Aiden Hutchinson sing Michael Jackson.
Okay, but the problem is,
This is what I try to tell Carlos.
that was completely okay. That was a fun moment and whatever. And Rodriguez doing the little salsa dance was fun. And I did the math, and 7% of the show was watching Dan Campbell do 40 up downs.
Sure.
That's fucking lazy. That's lazy television.
But
That you can do it a different way. You can show something else. You can, and all this. A lot of this is just unfortunate. It's not just the Lions, but all their shows recently, it's just fluff. They used to show things like guys, like coaches playing solitaire, wasting time. That was not a good look.
Yeah.
Like, what are these guys doing? It's a culture of FaceTime, of being in the office, of I can't leave before my boss leaves. That's the problem with one of the problems with the NFL. And they got to that. They kind of showed you, like, holy crap, these guys waste a lot of time. They want you to believe that I'm working 12 hours grinding film and checking this and going through the playbook and talking to the guys.
It's a lot of waiting around.
It's a lot of waiting around doing a lot of nothing, And that was one of the things with Jim Caldwell was he was like, do your work, get out. If you do your work and you do it well, get the hell out. You do not have to live at the facility.
I mean, this town got the Caldwell thing wrong. I mean, we all did. Everybody wanted him
Well,
gone.
you'd still have 9 wins or maybe 10.
Exactly.
I hate the Lions.
Huh?
Yeah.
I said I didn't want Caldwell gone. I thought Caldwell was great, and they
threw
hired.
a 14 win in there. He did in Indianapolis. I mean, we act like come on.
One thing I did not like, and I knew this was going to happen, was, and I didn't write about this because I wrote twice or whatever it was about Hard Knocks, but in the final episode when they finally cut the guys and they showed the guy, they always do this. This is one of the staples of Hard Knocks. They're going to cut a guy. He goes into the coach or the GM's office and they give him this is, it's a numbers game, whatever. And they had Campbell and Holmes in there. And this is a very orchestrated thing by the Lions, I think, is that we're going to be a kinder, gentler organization. And when you saw around the coaches when they were making decisions on who to cut for the initial 53, they're talking to the assistant coaches and we think this and it seems very cooperative. It's really not. It's those decisions are left to very few people. Dan Campbell and basically Brad Holmes, maybe someone else, maybe a John Dorsey, a senior advisor. But to think that your position coach is really going to have much say in who you're going to keep, it doesn't happen really.
I don't think position coaches always know the salary numbers.
They don't know salary numbers, how the team works holistically, who, whatever. But this is
their
part
opinion
of the whole,
is valid, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll take your input, but we already know your input. We don't have to ask Deuce Staley what you think of who, Craig Reynolds. But the whole point of that was that, Sheila Ford Hamp wants a cooperative organization. She wants people to communicate because that's what the previous regime did not do.
Yeah.
So this is part of the sort of propaganda, if you will, of this is what the new regime's about. We're cooperative and we want to work together and everybody's going to feel better about things. And it's not that it's untrue, but that was very orchestrated for television. Which is what I don't like. What's happened with Hard Knocks?
It's a TV show.
They're carrying water.
People understand that,
but don't believe it's reality. That's a problem. And even Dan Campbell said that.
People understand this.
Yeah, we talked about.
They don't.
I know.
They don't.
Then what's the value of it?
Mark, help me
What's
out
the
here,
value?
my
What's the
gosh.
value of fake reality?
Commercial.
Okay.
Just like
it's
the
about
Kardashians.
selling shit.
People know that. That's the thing.
Well, that's why I don't watch.
We've
it.
had
People a lot of credit.
We have had reality
it's all
TV
crap.
for decades now. We've had it for decades now. Nobody believes it's real. It's real reality.
People understand it's produced and edited and depends on where the camera
and this is the whole
angles
thing,
are.
Mark. This is speaking to your thing. Persona. People want to believe in a persona. They want to believe that I am a mean guy with a black hat, whatever. They want to believe that Kim Kardashian is really that glamorous and lives on jets and whatever.
Well, there's just a blurring between the people's perception of what like Kim Kardashian puts out versus what she really is. That is so blurred. Well, Dan Campbell, right? He seems like a great guy. He does only have 4 wins so far.
Right.
So there's a whole grouping to be taken together. But that's why they want to show that, hey, here's the other side of Dan Campbell because he only has 4 wins. I mean, I think people understand that. I think people get that.
Yeah, it's a promotion for the Lions of this is who we are.
And the NFL.
And the NFL.
Yeah.
This is the guy who's fun and interesting. And he does get, by the way, I've written this too, he gets a lot of benefit of the doubt. A lot of early season hype comes from the national media who doesn't want to waste time to come to Detroit, but they can get Dan Campbell on the phone and talk to him about,
he makes good copy.
Great copy, great sound bites, and that gets disseminated throughout the league. All the fans throughout the, like, hey, wow, Detroit, they're doing something cool because their coaches. He's like a buff bro dude who's fun and gets it and talks about biting kneecaps.
Hey, I'll admit it. I liked Brady Hoke's introductory press conference, but it's all bullshit.
And you loved him the next year when he got you to the bowl. Was it the
Sugar Bowl?
Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
Hulkamania.
I even went.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then when he stopped losing, you lost it. This is what fans are. They're a lot more sophisticated. They may not know a ton about the sport itself, but they understand the production.
Winning cures all. I didn't really
care.
I didn't care for how he handled the Brendan Gibbons whole fiasco, which now he's going through again at San Diego State.
Yeah,
It's with the kickers.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other issue.
Sorry, you've been quiet over there for a while. It's your show.
I was just waiting for permission. I thought I was on the Carlos and Shawn podcast. I don't have any recipes to share.
We're going to have Lindsey Green on next. She's going to share the next.
Cut the cheese, put it on the cracker.
She was at the what's the series we do as the Free Press? You're a free guy now. What's that great series where the Free Press goes to a restaurant and
the top 10 takeover.
The takeover. She was at the Bellflower in Ypsilanti, which is a really fun little funky place in Ypsi, by the way.
Can we go back to Carlos's columns?
Yeah, let's go back to him.
I'm going to ask you about another.
People don't want to hate him. They don't think he's mean. They don't care if he's mean or not.
No,
they
it's
care.
The work.
That's exactly it.
No, I get
That's
it.
all they care about.
Believe me.
I appreciate.
I think I understand that.
You're a fan and a reader, and this is a good education series for.
I appreciate that there's someone.
Thanks for Sean-splaining it to everybody.
I appreciate that there's someone who's not trying to convince me, like some TV announcer trying to keep the viewers from switching channels, that the pile of steaming dog shit I didn't see was actually some kind of dumpling. Thank you, Carlos.
You're welcome.
There's not much to cheer about.
But that being said,
in sports around here.
That being said, that team that played at Ford Field and how they played on Sunday is different than what we've seen.
Absolutely different.
I was in line in a garage in Seattle.
I thought
you're not alive.
And I wouldn't have watched it if I was home either.
Did you take anything out of that game, by the way, in Seattle? Let's see if you know anything about football. What'd you take away, other than you were sad that they lost?
What did I take?
He already hears.
This
already
feels
mentioned.
like a setup. Where are we going?
No, what'd you take away besides the fact that forget the defensive line, which is problematic as the secondary. What was the other thing you took away?
Well, since you're trying to drive me into a box can here, why don't you just give me like a multiple choice so I can answer it correctly?
No, what'd you take away? I know it's not fun.
You know what I'm taking away right now is that Sean's a lot like my wife, that there's no right answer unless I divine what it is he wants me to say. So if you could just write it down and pass it over.
What'd you take away? I'm curious.
That Michigan State's defense. I can't talk about the defense.
No, you've already said that.
Let me switch to the other side of the ball. That we have some trouble with the run game.
Yes. What else?
Pass protection.
Yeah. What else?
You know what's funny? Okay, here's another guy.
Was there anything positive at all that you would take away? I'm sorry, Mark.
Yeah, I took a lot positive away from it. You know what I took a lot positive away from it?
A month from now.
That inside, they're all people. And they care, just like you and I care. And if you cut me, do I not bleed? I know all that shit. You say we all know that Hard Knocks is a bunch of phony baloney. Why don't know all that stuff too? I know they're all kids. I know they're all trying hard.
Did you know Keon Coleman was capable of what he showed?
Yes, in fact, I was wondering why they didn't give him the ball earlier, except I thought maybe they're trying to limit the playbook early on. And then they're going to open it when the games get bigger.
Is that it?
No, just once you get into the game's account. The other thing is, and I hate to say this, because I love it when guys stay another year, but Jaden Reed should have gone. He should have gone pro because they have so many wide receivers that he can be just as good as he was last year, and his numbers are going to look worse because there are more options like Coleman.
Don't get drafted on your numbers.
And now here's the other thing is, where was Malik Carr? I did not see Malik Carr in the game at all.
You asked for this.
Oh my God. Barker's a better
player. What I was going to say is there's another person.
Daniel Barker's a
but let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about this. Let me tell you something about this. Malik Carr, very nice person who cares a lot about fans.
That's fine.
He has some hobbies.
But Barker's a better player.
And I'm sure before the end of the season you're going to write about him.
They're both.
He does
Yeah,
origami.
Mark, you're right. The scouts aren't going to look at film at all or read. They're just going to look at his stat sheet. Oh, well, he doesn't belong here in Cincinnati. Besides, we got Jamar Chase. We don't need another receiver on the other side of the field.
They need another receiver.
Yeah.
What are you
And
talking
an
about
offensive
now?
line.
I'm sorry, that went over your head.
Oh, you mean
maybe
what's
quarterback.
The Bengals?
No.
Oh,
I'm still trying to figure out whether I should preheat my oven to 350 or 375.
Let's get Lindsey Green in here to talk about or Susalaski. No, Susalaski would be the one.
Hey, what do you have
They're
against,
already booked.
What do you have against food anyway? He's always making
Why do you hate
comments
food?
every week. Yeah, why do you hate food?
I don't hate food.
All right, short answer, ML. Are you worried about Michigan State?
I think anybody who watched that team is worried.
Because what I found interesting, and here's another person who gets a lot of shit from his listeners, is Mike Valeni. And I heard him yesterday say, he goes, losing to Washington, yeah, it sucks. It's like getting, I'm not going to be happy about getting kicked in the nuts, I think was his quote. He goes, but it doesn't mean a million different things. And I think he's right. It's just, it's a loss. It's
I don't often agree with him, but I do there.
I was, talk about not expecting to hear something come out of his mouth like that, no rant, no nothing. It was like, yeah, he's right. It's a loss on the road where you were the underdog out of conference. You can still do whatever you want.
They got to fix the stubbornness more than anything.
But I learned that the hard way as a Michigan fan, where every loss used to be so the world's exploding, and no, it's not. It doesn't mean that anymore.
That is such a Michigan fan thing. We're the greatest team ever. We're the greatest team ever. Team makes a mistake. These guys suck. They're not smart enough to go here. Fire the coach. Fire the AD.
High expectations.
No, unreasonable dicks.
High expectations. Leaders and best.
Oh, I like that. I love the look on his face. I wish that was the look we got to see Saturday night, by the way.
Are you still with us, Kim? This is the money shot right here, baby. This is the money shot.
I have to ask Carlos about another column during the pandemic, so times are different. A lot of people were very emotional about this, people I know, that you will never root for Justin Turner again for not wearing his mask. Yeah. And I think you were very upset so much that you couldn't even root for the Dodgers anymore. So can you root for the Dodgers anymore?
I can root for the Dodgers, and the JT thing. It's hard for me to reconcile that to root for him. And I've always, as in the column, the whole point of it, the whole thing was we both went to Cal State Fullerton. He's a little younger than I am. But I actually watched him play in college at Goodwin Field, and he was in the World Series, College World Series, and he got hit in the face and all this stuff. Nobody, if there was one guy at Cal State Fullerton that people thought was not going to ever make the pros, it probably would have been Justin Turner, like a good player. Like, no, he's too small, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of a miracle that he did find his way onto the, into being not only a regular MLB player, but
the column was about COVID, right? Because
it was about COVID.
He didn't wear his mask, and he sat next to Dave
Roberts. He got
Roberts.
pulled off the field in the late innings, and then he came back because
he just tested.
He had just tested positive, and they had
COVID is a lot different than it is now too.
It was, and they're having the field celebration or whatever on the field, and somehow he found his way back onto the field, positive and everything, hanging out with all his teammates, and.
Can you cheer for him now, though?
No, I can't.
Really? Come on.
It bothers me. It bothers me that he was so selfish at that point.
I have the same problem with Tyler Bertuzzi.
Really? But it's
absolutely.
one mistake.
Absolutely, it's selfish.
Well, Tyler's
when the chips
are
are
a little different.
Well, no, because you're being selfish. You're putting yourself ahead of the team. Everybody else is making these sacrifices. Now, Justin Turner was a little bit different. It was a World
just
Series.
won. It was done.
Yeah,
he didn't cost his team anything.
He didn't.
Could he have put him
He could have killed somebody, but whatever.
But he didn't.
He didn't.
Yeah.
So,
but I think you can root for him again. Don't deprive yourself.
I want to.
Don't deprive yourself of fandom just because of one mistake.
It would be hard. Like, this is the way I look at it is. Before that, if we were ever at some place, whatever, and we were in the elevator together, whatever, I would have been happy to like shake his hand and tell him whatever. Now I wouldn't. I wouldn't even talk to him.
That's fair. But
but maybe I don't root against him.
Okay.
But he was one of my all-time favorite players because of our shared history and everything, and how we came up, and he fought his way onto that roster and became a star. And for him to do that when everybody else was sacrificing, when everybody else was being so careful and everything,
sure.
And it was like and it's like, yeah, okay, this is a good excuse. It's the World Series, we're champions. You're still going to be a champion, but you just wanted to be there.
I wasn't nuts about the decision. Okay, I'll give you an example. Michigan, it's my school. I went there. In case anybody didn't know that, I had to say that because that's.
ML doesn't know.
I think we're taught that when you first get there. I'm not nuts about Harbaugh's position on abortion. I'm not, but it's his opinion.
Or eating chicken.
He's Catholic. That's fine, but it's not going to make me not root for him or for the team. You know what I mean?
I think stating a position is different.
Okay.
You know, if Justin Turner had his own beliefs, I'm not going to hold that against him. You know, like he can. You know, now if he was at the Capitol on January 6th and was in tactical gear beating up on officers, then I'd probably have a different.
I'll give you a better analogy. I don't like how they handled the Brendan Gibbons thing, but I still root for him and cheer for him. And maybe it's differently emotional because I went there.
Yeah.
Hey, now that Shawn stepped out of the room, can we get to the real show? Because there's a question out there whether Carlos is gratuitously nasty. Has anybody ever asked Shawn if he's gratuitously nice?
Yeah, I think there's a theory out there in the world that Shawn's too nice of a person.
No, not as a person. As a person, he's despicable. But I'm just thinking, there's no debate there. But as a sports columnist, I mean, it's it's.
Well, see, I want him to take a side more.
Yes,
he's back. Sorry. It's the Hitler's dog approach, you know. It's just like, yeah, he's a real terrible guy, but he was nice to his dog.
Yeah.
Ding. Sorry,
that's what I wanted, Shawn. I want you to.
We're just talking about Kilpatrick.
Have an opinion and stick to it, and not.
I do, but I change with the motherfucking facts. That's what I do. I have no idea what you guys have been saying.
Anjanette Delgado is calling you right now, Shawn. She's not appreciating.
That's what I do.
This salty language.
I write based on the larger context, but also the context of the day and whatever I think of that day. And it may change next week, and it may change the next month. It may not. And that's
Where was
how
Malik
it is.
Carr? That's all I want to know.
What's that?
Where was Malik Carr?
Daniel Barker's a better player.
No, I know, but he didn't even get in the game. Was he home? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I didn't know about Slade not traveling. I didn't know about Jaden Reed not traveling until I got there.
Did you know Xavier Henderson wasn't going to play? Did you know Darius Snow's out for the season?
That I did know because Carlos wrote about it.
Let's blow up
him.
Since
I remember him writing about that.
But he wrote about it. He said, those cowards with the torn ACLs don't have the guts to get out there on one leg and hobble around.
Yeah, exactly. You want to call them cowards and not pay them a dime. Fly out to Seattle so you can be entertained.
No, Carlos said that.
That's what you want.
Carlos, should they pay the players?
I call them.
Okay, good.
Tremendous young people who are already handsomely compensated.
Shit. Let's blow up the Carlos hates everything myth. One positive thing about we won't do the Lions because there's your column today. One positive thing about the Tigers.
Season's almost over.
That's a really tough.
He was weirdly positive all year about the Tigers.
But it's about expectations. Nobody expected them.
That's because I think last year he said El Avila has to go, and then the team went on a winning streak, and so he's afraid to.
I never said Al had to go. In fact, I thought it was a little unfair to him. Of all the years, this year with so many, and that's the positive thing probably is
injuries.
So many injuries, so many weird things. The Austin Meadows stuff that Eduardo.
I still maintain, by the way, and I don't know if Shawn, if you and I have talked about this. There must be something wrong with the training staff in that organization for that many injuries.
A lot of fans have that conspiracy.
It's not even a conspiracy. It's just
with the pitchers in particular.
When you see that many injuries, they're doing something wrong where they're not prepared for a full season.
If this is the NFL, they would fire their head trainer.
Yeah,
this is
without
typical.
a doubt.
But in baseball, they don't tend to do that as much, and I think there's so many mechanical issues, especially with the pitchers.
There's so many coaches and trainers too.
There are.
But it starts at the top.
So I don't know. That's a really hard one to answer. Who ordered the code red on Tarek Skubal or whatever? Like who knows how they're.
Well, that wasn't very positive about the Tigers. Okay, so what about the Pistons?
That's basketball, Carlos.
They're still right.
Stop Shawn's playing.
Away. Yeah, I mean Shawn.
It's not terribly positive either.
You had Jaden Ivey in the first ballot Hall of Famer, right? I mean,
he can't shoot. We'll see if he can.
Can he play without the ball, right? That's the big thing. Does he need the ball? How's he going to work with Cade?
Yeah, can he shoot?
It wasn't terribly positive either. Red Wings.
Yeah, come on, Carlos.
But that was Shawn who was negative.
Red Wings were close to the playoffs. They were a couple of games out in February. I mean, they were trending the right way. You can see they're getting back. They're still they don't have as Sean only knows one NHL player, Connor McDavid, so that's who he's going to always mention, Connor McDavid. But they don't have that kind of guy on their team. They don't have somebody, but they did make some positive.
Who does?
Mo Seider,
by the way?
The Oilers have two of them, Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid.
Yeah,
and my Kings almost beat them. God damn it! But anyway,
just because it doesn't matter in hockey, it's all luck.
You need some start. You need some start, more star power, more scoring. Lucas Raymond, a little small, gets pushed around a little bit, but they're fun to watch.
He's young too.
That's what's, and the goaltending has to get a little bit better. But hey, nobody would be shocked if this team makes the playoffs next year. Doesn't go deep in the playoffs, but you wouldn't be shocked.
They'll barely make it.
Barely make it.
That's
Are you going to take that? I'll take barely make it.
That's positive. Yeah. I'll give you that. Yeah. Michigan, I don't think you've been terribly negative about Michigan. Maybe some.
I just love Harbaugh. He's just a columnist dream.
He's a nut.
He's a nut.
I wanted him fired 2 years ago. I'll admit it.
You wanted him fired. What about the dalliance with the Vikings? What did that do to you?
I kind of wanted him gone. I mean, it was one of those things where, leave. If you don't want to be here, fine.
And now that he's back?
Well, I mean, come on. Look, winning cures everything, right? They're in the
no. But I mean, you guys get to the CFP, right? Mm-hmm. And then he's like, "See ya," because you guys made me take a pay cut. I'm gonna go, flirt.
Sure.
I'm your girlfriend. I'm gonna go publicly say I'm cheating on you, and it didn't work out. So you guys are all taking her back happily. Because the times are too good.
Am I embarrassed about taking him back?
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Why would you be?
I would have too much pride for that.
At least we know what'll happen if he impregnates his girlfriend.
Why would you be?
I mean, if they're going to win, they're going to win, right? And then he seemed to have him on a good course.
What's that say about
but
the
you
free
forgive
press?
all that. Winning cures it all.
Well, wasn't
what
that
do you
going
think
to be
about Mike?
Wasn't that going to be
coming back to the
Harbaugh's
free
last
press?
job ever? Didn't he find the place he wanted to die, and then he goes to? I mean, it's like
I don't know that he ever said that. I don't know that he ever.
He said that now after
he wanted to
they
die
signed
there.
the contract.
Oh yeah, after he wanted to leave. This is where Now that nobody will take me, this is where I want to stay.
Yeah, he just said that. He didn't say that before.
Go blue.
But once again, it's all about expectations, and he was expected to be in the playoffs, within 3 years, and he wasn't. So people were down.
He was expected to finish better than third in the Big Ten East, and he wasn't. Sorry. I thought I could talk there because Sean was
last year. I'm just saying, it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't see how you see
year
that
what,
as
75?
cheating.
I see it.
Listen to another job offer?
Just because everybody leaves state after 2 years or whatever.
I mean, come on, everybody does that.
What?
People
It's
don't
outrageous. It's
that.
not true.
Most people are like,
imagine
Mark.
if Saban would have stayed.
Jesus Christ! Since when can't you go try another job?
Bobby
He'd probably be attorney. He'd probably be AD and president of the university. Perlis couldn't leave because he didn't know where to get steroids in other towns, so he had to stay close to his dealer. Rest in peace, George.
Oh man, the geeks have inherited the earth.
Did I do that?
What a dork.
Does him wanting to play with us again mean that he's turning into a geek, or we're turning into cool guys?
That's what Kim Belton would call a hard out in TV. It's like, we're done with that thing. We're going to the next one. I'm going to keep this brief because...
really, how?
Well,
too late.
Sometimes the interruptions do prolong things a bit. And as we know, this is the only realm where Sean can prolong things. But I did want to let you know
I did hold it in for a long, long time. Too long, in fact, and I almost needed to go to the hospital, but that's another story.
That's probably Carlos's fault,
not
too.
Pulling out? Wait, what?
Yeah. Oh, shit.
So, King Charles III, mom dies. That sucks. Moving into Buckingham Palace.
Yeah, I can hear the
Cool.
empathy.
People at Clarendon House, as they're all standing in line to pay their respects to the Queen, they get a note that says, by the way, don't bother coming back to work on Monday because it looks like we've got too many people here. So how do you tell people in this moment of mourning and all this need to convey that you are as empathetic and as thoughtful and caring as your dead mother? King Charles somehow lets half of his staff at his royal residence know that they're probably going to get laid off as soon as they put the old bird in the ground. How do you do that? See, nobody has an answer, and Sean's got an answer for everything. He can't
He's
even
king. He can do whatever he wants.
He's speechless. He's speechless.
I don't want to talk about this. The monarchy is just, no.
You're no fun.
By the way, I can tell from listening to all you guys talk about the monarchy last week, none of you guys have watched The Crown.
I've watched it.
Oh, we've all watched it.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
It may be the one
That
show that we've all
explains it
watched. Sean,
so
you watched
well.
it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen part of it.
Yeah, I've seen everything up until Princess Diana. Then I got bored.
Oh, that was a good season.
That was good. That was a good
really
season.
good season. Yeah.
I didn't really like Princess Diana.
No, I didn't either.
Let's keep celebrating feudalism. This is awesome.
Yeah, because that's what it is. It's celebrating feudalism.
Wait,
Well, that's exactly what it does.
No, it isn't.
Of course it does. It's just anodyne. There's a word for you, Mike. And that was his problem with Hard Knocks. But I'm talking about something that's actually fucking real, where tax money's going to people to prop them up so they can go drive around and for photo ops. That's all that is.
They bring in more money than they take.
You did grasp that
Period.
King Charles was going to be Geek of the Week, so this was going to be critical of the monarchy. I don't know if you picked that up.
I used to
Probably
be with
checking
you.
on your muffins.
I used to be with you until I learned that, yeah, they bring in a lot of money because they're mascots for the country, and the country rallies
They're
around.
corgis.
It's not split.
story.
I don't know what the percentage is over there, but it's nowhere near 90 or 80 or probably even 70.
Didn't you call them the Kardashians?
Yeah, they kind of are.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, through birth, but we'll be dealing with the Northwest for a long time.
Uglier Kardashians with smaller butts.
At least that's a private enterprise.
Who doesn't
Except
like
for Fergie.
Who doesn't like a good princess and prince story? Now, do they all need to be white princess and princes? No. I mean, they could be other kinds, but
So there could
it's a
be
story.
So all mermaids don't have to be white.
Oh no, it's the story that matters, right?
So
Yeah, the story does usually matter, and the story here is that it's
Well, this country's imperfect too. All countries are imperfect.
Yeah, and we try to make change, right? We try to change it when we
And the royals have it.
Yeah, they should get rid of the system. I mean, it's kind of silly, but
They
anyway,
did.
silly's the wrong word for it.
Figure, you're the worst. You're no fun.
I'm sorry. Who was your geek of the week? You already did it.
There's an all-night party in room 7609. And you can dance together all night if you've got the time.
Before we get Sean's Irish up again, I want to just note that this selection for room 7609 is offered in a spirit of irony. So without further ado, here's the Sex Pistols with God Save the Queen. Irony.
God save the Queen, the fascist regime. It made you a moron, potential hate bomb. God save the Queen,
Okay, so the Sex Pistols aren't new wave, but they were produced by Malcolm McLaren, who did a lot of great new wave acts, and we've decided once every 70 years we'll make an exception.
Best song you've ever played.
Great choice.
So, wow, we're in agreement. Carlos,
Not a good band.
Now
though,
Carlos is
don't
going to
say
say, I didn't like it. No. But then
That's 'cause
quietly
it's
he's going to say, love the Sex Pistols. No? He
I
said,
like the Sex Pistols. I mean, they weren't
said
my favorite band,
never
but-
mind the Windsors. It's the...
Don't you love the way the guy named Windsor is criticized in the royal family, by the way?
Oh, I know.
probably
It's
related.
It's like
Oh,
he's...
my dad was
It's
adopted,
like he's
and
Prince
my
Harry,
grandfather
but it
was
looks
a
like
car
Prince
salesman.
William. That's the ironic thing.
What is your what is your ethnicity?
I have probably less hair than he does.
What is your ethnicity?
I don't know. Somewhere over there.
Not applicable.
My pops was adopted. My
was mine.
grandfather sold cars. I don't know.
Yeah, but we know what my dog is made out of.
My
We can get one
ethnicity
of
is my grandfather sold
Yeah,
cars.
I mean that's all you need to know.
Okay, so he's...
Yeah, wore a diamond pinky ring and carried a lighter even though he didn't smoke, so he could always light the ladies' cigarettes.
Oh, it's a good move. Let me write that one down.
You know, every week I feel like we have the wrong member of Sean's family on the show. I don't know. Where are these guys?
Have you seen pictures of Sean's dad? From
Just,
remember that picture of your dad
wanted
wearing
poster.
those
Wait, what?
On the
those
milk
plaid
carton.
pants when you guys were?
Oh yeah, that's
Ran
actually
with
my
your column.
that's actually my father. Yeah,
Yeah, your dad.
yeah, not Belvin.
His dad was actually cool, and it didn't go down. That gene did not get passed down.
It's in there
See,
somewhere.
Sean's a contrarian. He's
in there
giving you a
somewhere.
hard time, but Sean's the guy who always tries to go against
Yes,
it.
he
just
wants
tries
to.
to do it with. He just tries to put a little powdered sugar on it so it seems sweet. But
Yes.
for all we know, it's really asbestos.
No, it's cocaine.
I know you spent some time in Austin following that scratch acid ban, but I didn't know you were going
But
to.
that was more of a weed, kind of mushroomy beans. That's like a
beans.
Mellows you out a little bit. It's a downer. I can't think of the word.
Quaaludes?
Quaaludes. Well, not Quaaludes. No.
Oh.
Depressant?
Yeah.
Well, I never thought he was depressed.
You don't really associate cocaine with Austin. That's more Dallas. You know what I mean? That's
It's a
candy
suburb of
apple
Fort
red
Worth.
BMW, flipped up Izod collars, SMU, fraternity douche motherfuckers.
Nice stereotyping
That's what-
drugs.
Oh, I lived in both places and saw it in the 80s, but that's okay.
Well, if you want to support Sean's drug habit, you can make a donation at mlsoulofdetroit.com. There's a little donate button up there. That's what Bryant does as he does so often. He says, another great show all, and having Teresa on to share her story was a nice change of pace, referring to last week's episode, which you can find at mlsoulofdetroit.com.
From what, may I ask? The usual drudgery? Is it change of
It
pace?
says here from Sean, but I wasn't going to read that part. Cause
No, go ahead.
No, Brian didn't say. He's actually a Sean fan, which is...
Hard to believe.
Well, he's trying to start a fan club, but they're having trouble renting a phone booth. I guess they've torn them all down, so they can't find the appropriately sized venue. Teresa being demonstrating how to best deal with ML, more or less ignore him unless he actually makes you laugh. Working his comedy shtick was a nice cherry on top. I agree with Mark. Teresa should be a recurring guest, if for nothing else.
good.
She's great at getting ML to move along. So I guess, thanks.
She writes good stories too.
She's pretty
How
talented.
hard? She is always working, isn't she? I mean, she just pumps out so much stuff, and it's not short, quick. It's in-depth stuff.
We're talking about journalism, right? Yes. She's very busy. Yes, she works a lot.
Yeah. Well,
you help
she
her.
needs to get away from somebody at home, probably. So locks herself in a room. Do you guys? Where do you guys work? By the way, do you guys
are
close yourself
you are
off?
negative.
It's funny. He gets so uncomfortable.
Where do you work at home? Do you have your own offices?
Did you just say you are negative? Oh, finally, an hour and a half in. You've been saying that for 3 years.
You wore me down.
That's tough. Two writers in a house.
No, I go into the office every once in a while. Right now, I work outside on our deck because I can plug my computer in, and I may have an office chair there, and it's very comfortable. And and it's pretty good. But when it gets cold, but Teresa works in the kitchen at the we have one of those islands from IKEA there, and she works there all the time. And I just think her posture, she's going to be this bent over old lady by the time we finally get back to the office. But I don't know.
Who said they sit like a question mark last week?
I did.
You do. Yeah. Yeah, and you give people a bunch of shit at the Lions or at press conferences when they're not military straight up, like, oh,
I do?
sit up straight. You were Matt Patricia before Matt Patricia was Matt Patricia.
I don't remember saying anybody to sit up straight.
Oh my God! Wow.
Maybe you.
Now he's going senile.
Sean's like, we got to let people be who they are. They watch them, but you need to be different.
Yeah. No. You don't have to be
I want
different.
you to express yourself as long as it's similar to my expression.
Yes, that's it.
It's just, Carlos, I like to cut it.
Just believe. And what was Mike saying a few weeks ago when I was telling you Carlos's message about how you weren't taking the coaching or you weren't listening or something? And you said, well, judging by the way he writes, I'm going to do the opposite of whatever he says on the softball field.
Yeah, I did walk a bunch of guys. He said, don't do that anymore. So I may go back to following Carlos's direction next time.
Yeah,
because
okay.
It is the playoffs.
Okay. No, you're
Mike
free.
Mike Elrick is our Mark Fidrich. Talks to himself. Of course, every pitcher we have is our Mark Fidrich because they all talk to themselves into the softball on the mound. I can't believe these guys are not swinging. I can't. You come play softball. You're not going to swing. I can't believe So
Yeah, and then I go up there and somebody throws something over my head. I'm like, I'm going to swing it because I didn't come here to walk. I get my steps in going to the parking lot or the bar.
I would like you guys to be yourself, but just sit the fuck up straight. There you go. There you go. Except for you. Your calves prop you up nicely.
Or pants again.
You kind of
Always
think about
on
calves.
Tuesday.
You talk a lot about people. Men's calves, especially.
No, just his. That's like Dick Motta after he was done coaching the NBA. He was a color analyst talking about Darnell Valentine's thighs. Look at his thighs. He said that on a broadcast.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I'm glad I knew that. Anyway, Anthony also made a donation and says, ML, I was unusually and unexpectedly drawn to approval listening to your show unexpectedly. Oh, that's hurtful. So I want to drop a small donation. What captured my attention was last week's repeated and unapologetic use of the term shitbag in describing some of our local ne'er-do-wells. I was hoping then you could indulge me with your wordsmithery using the equally underrated term in a sentence about Shawn. Thank you in advance. Tony, you're going to have to pony up if you want to hear that word, and we may still have to beep it. But I will be writing about another person who is a bagger this Sunday in the Detroit Free Press. So we would appreciate if you would subscribe to the Free Press. It's really cheap, and you can find Shawn's work, my work, Carlos's work, and Seidel's writing about some dead people. So it's all the stuff you expect from your Detroit Free Press every week. And just in case you missed it, before Mitch Albom, there was Mike Downey.
By the way, last week, you guys,
Before Mitch Albom,
someone coined
there
a
was
phrase.
Mike Downey.
Shitbaggery?
Before shitbaggery, there was Mike Downey.
Shitbaggery.
Who actually looked like a shitbag.
Was that
Remember his
paragraph?
column photo? He always
Paragraph.
looked like he was kind of
Downey?
hung over. Yeah, he
It
always
was horrible.
He was
But
kind of
almost-
he looked like Sipowicz from NYPD Blue.
My mentor, how's this? My mentor hired both those guys for the Free Press. He hired Downey and Album. Joe Distelheim, who passed away last year.
Did he hire you?
He did, which
so
is
he
kind of
2 for 3.
2 for 3. Exactly. I knew
Get
that
you
was
in the Hall of
coming,
Fame.
but He hired me in Alabama.
Okay.
Is that where he made you apologize to the fucking restaurant about the?
He didn't.
Why didn't you just quit?
His boss
Why didn't you quit?
The publisher did.
Go apologize in person. Like,
publisher
why are
did.
you even doing restaurant reviews then? What's the point?
Yeah, I didn't do them anymore.
Yeah.
They pulled me
Terrible.
from it. It was a small community. They didn't want that kind of shit from their reviewers.
Then they shouldn't review them at all.
You know what? In fairness, though, the Free Press did the same thing. I did that for Sylvia. I went out and covered some Nepalese place and somewhere up here. And I didn't like it very much, and I turned it in, and they're like, we can't really, we will put these people out of business. And they were thinking,
that's ridiculous.
You've always been
What?
against the people of Nepal.
Yeah. Did that
hate the Dalai Lama.
That took a little longer than normal. Are you okay?
No. I'm trying to draw it out because I realize our time is drawing short, and I'm
It
savoring
is.
it.
Are you?
Savoring it.
You look.
Plus, I know you guys are
fabulous
thinking,
today.
I got to get to that
Yeah, we
press
do.
conference
We do
any
have to
minute.
get.
So
But
Sean,
you
tell me a
you
little
look
bit more about your
fabulous today.
favorite numbers.
I want to tell you something real quickly. I think you look better in person than you did on TV the other night, and you look great in TV.
Well, that wasn't me. That was Liv Schreiber.
It's let's just say it's yeah.
The voice of Hard Knocks, by the way.
Oh, is he?
Yes.
Oh, God.
You would never. I didn't know that until like the third season. I'm like, this is Liev Schreiber. Like
He does all the HBO sports stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
but he has a totally different. Like he's not Ray Donovan in that one. You know,
No,
he's like
no. God, he's
Or
dulcet tones of Sean Windsor.
or the guy he played in Goon. Anybody ever see Goon?
Oh
yes,
yeah.
the hockey movie.
Oh, I have not watched the Chuck Wepner movie. I've always wanted to see it.
Oh,
It's called Underdog or
Wepner.
something like that.
I don't think I saw him until The Manchurian Candidate.
Oh, yeah.
Liv
Well,
Schreiber, yeah.
you know what? I forgot one other. I got to give you a little husky tidbit.
Yeah, please.
Sonny Six
Keep
Killer was a great quarterback for the Huskies.
They honored him during the game.
Yeah.
Right. And in our outro, you're going to hear a clip from The Longest Yard, which starred Sonny Six Killer.
Nice.
He had a cameo in it.
Really?
Yeah.
You left.
Yeah.
You left something else out from your trip to Seattle too. Was the trip in the airport? Because I saw a news story that there were 3-hour waits at SeaTac, and I'm like,
I thought I might have to zoom into the show.
I wonder if ML's in this line, and sure enough, you were.
$85, 5 years.
Yes. No, you're right.
There
Don't
you go.
tell everybody. Now you're screwing that up too.
That's not.
Oh no, but it's a pain in the butt to do it. There's a problem. You got to go. You got to do an application.
Is this the you got it. You got. I know for you maybe, Carlos, but for I don't know, 10 minutes online. That's how long it took.
Yeah.
No.
Don't you have to go? You have to go.
You used to, but you can
now.
You can do it now. Oh, maybe you do, but I did. Originally, I did it in person, but maybe it was just when I was re-upping.
I'll tell you what. I'm doing it because
it's
cutting
worth
those
it.
lines is worth it, especially you guys trying to make flights. And I heard
Yeah.
Solari had a 6 a.m. flight out of Seattle or something like that after a game that ended at, 10, 11 o'clock local time? Ugh.
Yeah, that's because the
It's
free
tough.
press is
You can renew it online though.
the fact that
Is that what you're
6
saying?
a.m. flight.
You can renew it online.
I did, yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Theater of security, huh?
Pardon me?
The theater of security.
Well, so you can do your driver's license that way, right?
I know, but it's not the reason we have security at the
but
airport.
if you blow up your car, that's on you.
Exactly.
Watch Sebastian Maniscalco's bit on the TSA.
Well, it's
oh
a-
my God,
It's a joke. But if it makes us feel better, that's fine.
right?
So
Well,
if,
in any case.
Which is half the game.
Yes.
if you want to see what happened to me at the airport, you can follow me at Twitter. That's at Elric.
And
you
why
can
wouldn't
also
you?
follow me on Facebook, which is ML No Periods Elric. You'll also find out what's coming up on our next episode. And we really appreciate it if you're listening to us now instead of watching us, that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is ML Elric. That really helps the show. And you'll also be able to sign up for notifications so you know when we're going live again and whenever we have some new content. And by the way, there's a lot of great podcasts at the Free Press. There's one on the Pistons. There's one on the line. There's one on
Michigan
I'm just gonna keep firing
Wolverines.
it.
There's one on some other stuff.
Where's Cyrus?
And this week,
Can you dig that?
now that they've had a little chance to sort of job shadow, we're looking forward to a really
Now you know what not to do.
humdinger of a Carlos and Shawn podcast.
Can you dig that?
What might very patient people find on that episode this week?
Oh, we're going to be going deep on the Tigers' new hiring of their president of baseball operations and general manager, Scott Harris.
With the talented young Evan Petzold.
Evan Petzold covers the Tigers.
Great
sport
hair,
guy.
by the way, right?
The best
Can we
hair.
say that?
The best hair in sports. Detroit
Great
sports
hair.
media.
Yeah.
And he will be sharing his grandmother's muffin recipe. That's all this week on the Carlos and Shawn podcast, which you can find at freep.com. And until next week, when I think we will have Sherry Fink, the producer, the writer, the Pulitzer Prize winner, the Emmy Award nominated journalist who is the driving force between 5 days at Memorial. I saw the first episode last night. Holy crap. That's a pretty good hook. That first 39 minutes, you're
really good
kind of
show.
left saying, this is going to get crazy. So we look forward to having Sherry join us next week. So please, until then, Cyrus, take us out.
Can you dig that?
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
How do you like them apples? Superstar.